So today we're kicking off Kickstarters with GloryHoundd.
DrGloryHogg.
Greg Dickson.
And I wanted to talk about, this is a Kickstarter that has already been kickstarted, but you can still go ahead and go online and pre-order it, you know?
Yeah.
And that is 1 Week Werewolf. You played that, Greg.
Yeah,
right?
we
played
together.
1
She's
Week
going
Werewolf.
off script.
It's not off script.
It wasn't written down.
It was written down. Yeah.
Where?
Right here. One.
Oh, that's our small talk.
Yeah, small talk.
Yeah.
1 Week Werewolf.
Don't
yeah.
tell them the names of the segments.
It's definitely not the name of it.
Behind the scenes stuff. Come on.
Talk about one.
It's
week
okay.
werewolf.
Somebody's gonna blow up that portion of your nose and
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, "Oh,
Why
let me
does
see
it
what
say
they're talking
F
about."
GloryHogg on
Oh,
here?
dang.
It's notes for later tonight.
Well, I want to talk about 1 Week Werewolf. It's part of the whole werewolf series. Like we haven't talked about it before.
I think it's important that we bring this up.
We had technical difficulties earlier. I apologize, guys. So if
They're not going to know
our
about
editing looks really
Start over.
Should we?
Just because all she said is 1
Should
week
we clap
werewolf.
again?
She said 1 week werewolf.
No, we're fine.
and
We're
then
fine.
She went straight to cussing.
Okay. So let's talk about 1 Week Werewolf. Now, I know 1 Week Werewolf has already had its Kickstarter, but you can still go to Kickstarter and click the pre-order button.
You can bag it up.
And get that Kickstarter.
No, I can't remember what we haven't talked about.
Well, we were talking a little bit about the difference between the 1 Week Werewolf versus Ultimate Werewolf versus One Night Werewolf. Yeah. Which I like Ultimate Werewolf, but
the original.
The original.
Or close to the original.
But I feel like people have a hard time leading into that, especially if they've never played that sort of game before. They just can't come up with stuff to
when
talk
somebody
about.
says, "Who are you?" I mean, your options are basically to say "I am the town baker." Like, what do you do here? I make pretzels, Bavarian and regular. There's only so much you can say.
Bavarian pretzels. Oh my god.
Bavarian pretzels. That's a werewolf pretzel. Oh my gosh!
That's exactly what a werewolf would bake.
That's what I say every single time. No matter what you say, I always will say.
They're like, "Are you the tanner?" And you're like, "I'm definitely a baker. I like pretzels."
Every time, no matter what you say, that's exactly what a werewolf would say.
Well, we just played this at Dice Tower Con. Exactly what happened. If you talk too much, they were like, "Man, you're talking a lot. Sounds like a werewolf." And if you don't talk enough, why are you so quiet? Why don't you contribute to the village? You see that? Seems like you're trying to lay low like a werewolf. What can I say?
There's no happy medium. That's
right.
That's one of the downfalls of that game overall.
And then in One Night Werewolf, everything is so simplistic. I mean, you're just basically switching some roles and stuff. And
I don't like the switching role part where you steal people's roles and stuff because then you don't even know what you
fast to play, which is nice, but it's not my particular style of game because I feel like there's not a lot of strategic value to it, you know?
I love it.
I know. I was going to say, Greg loves it.
We have the broken token box. We have all the expansions. Yeah, we
the
love
broken
One Night
token
Ultimate
box.
Werewolf.
Is it like this big? Like what the?
No,
heck?
because it fits. It's like this. It fits everything in it. One Night Ultimate Alien, Vampire.
Oh, okay.
All of the
so it fits all of the One Nights
that,
in it.
I haven't even played Vampire or Alien because she won't even let me.
Alien
because I'm like,
Alien's more chaotic, but it's fun. Whereas Vampire, you kind of missed the mark a little bit.
She won't even let me play. You hear her?
You can come to my house. It's okay. We have comfortable couches, too. Real comfortable. They lean way back.
Nice.
Well,
I might be there a while.
My
old dog might pee on you, but otherwise it's
My kid pees on me all the time. Last 8 years.
Yeah, actually, I was meant to say.
You know.
Every time.
1 Week Werewolf is very cool because it's like everybody came to the mad castle of King Ludwig, and you go throughout the different rooms, and there's lots of different rooms that you can have. So each game is completely different, and you have a little token that represents you, and you have your who you are in it upside down so nobody can see, and then you have 2 NPCs there as well. And you guys are all moving throughout the castle trying to figure out who's the werewolves and who's not.
And each room has its own little ability.
Yeah,
correct?
exactly. Each room has a different ability, so you get a ton of replayability with the game. And you can only look at other people's tokens to see what they are if you're in the same room with them. So that really makes you going through the castle really interesting. Like if you're a werewolf, you might try to hide with some other people, so like you don't know, or you might try to separate yourself from the group,
which looks suspicious.
Yeah,
you gotta werewolf pack it up, like get with your
werewolf
other
pack it up,
just like roam around together and be like, well, I know I'm not, and they know they're not. Wink, wink.
Right.
Like coughing up fur balls and stuff.
I also like the rooms because it helps you remember, like, hey, wasn't there a time when you and me were in the same room and
we were making out?
And what happened?
7 minutes.
So it's like it serves for like a memory, like it's something to bring things back to your memory, because you can be like, what happened? Did you check when you were in that room? What did you guys do while you were in there? And you of course can lie or bluff or double bluff. And then it has a cool day-night phase where you're playing cards, and you can play whatever card you want and take the action the card gives you, but you have to claim what you're doing, and so you can lie and say, "Oh yeah, I'm totally checking GloryHogg. Yeah, she's legit," while you're actually doing something else.
Right. Yeah. It's got a lot of replayability to it. You can't be in the angle.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
Our poor editor.
Sorry, Alex.
I'm so sorry. All right.
So is this all cut out?
Not all of it.
Okay.
No. We'll just have to have stuff.
I want to know at what point I could safely flip off the camera.
This has become extremely chaotic.
If you like the one night series, like having the 1 week 1 week werewolf is probably going to be for you, I think, because it gives you all the same aspects except just in like board game form.
And there's more. It seems like a little bit more strategy to it.
Yeah, and I really feel like this particular game is just right. Like they took the two different types, of a little bit more quickness and a little bit more direction,
Super
and
big
just
con game.
Yeah, and just like made it into a nice little neat package that was like perfect. I'm like, this is the game that I want to bring to my table. Like this is the werewolf game that I wanted.
Is perfect.
It is. Just right.
Not too big, not too small.
That's right.
I think it says a lot for the game that, like, as a One Night Ultimate Werewolf fan of that franchise, I love it. And as someone as you guys who aren't really like those as much, you love it. Like, it seems like it brings anyone who likes the hidden role social deduction genre, any sort of version of that this is gonna appeal to them.
I'm in it for mostly the shirtless werewolves.
Mostly. Yeah.
And with every game copy.
I thought you liked bears more, but whatever.
But everything.
Sir, why are you taking off your shirt? I'm definitely not a werewolf.
I'm just really
definitely
hot.
not a werewolf.
And is there a water bowl on the ground somewhere? I just
want to lap it up.
A little thirsty.
Gotta lap
it up. No diggity.
All right, well, let's get back into the actual Kickstarters that are happening right now. We have Cthulhu Death May Die by Cool Mini or Not. I did not get a age count on this. It's just 1 to 5 players, and we don't know how long it's going to take. They don't have.
I was going to say 45 up, I think.
It's 80 plus.
It's probably got to be like 90 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes. I'm guessing 60 to 90
I think it comes with a credit score that you have to have
before
you can play it, because it costs so much.
Well,
you have to have at least a 650
I'm
or else, sorry.
It hasn't been like, you don't have enough money for this game. Stop.
We're going to do a check on your finances to see if we'll accept your backing.
You're spending more than 40% of your income on our games, and you need to stop.
Well, and there's been a whole lot of drama associated with this game.
Yes, there has.
Okay, so whenever they started the game, they had the $100 tier, which is like your basic tier, the base game, and then they had a $220 tier. Okay, and after so many people backed that tier, then it dropped down, and it kept on getting $5 more as you kept on going down.
And that was to get the giant statue.
Yes, to get the gigantic, huge baby-sized Cthulhu.
Cool Mini or Not does like such a good job that people were backing it too fast, and so you'd get stuck to where you're like, okay, bye, and it's like this reward's no longer available.
Yeah,
you're like pressed that you want to back it. You're starting to like fill out the info or whatever, and it's like, sorry, this tier's gone.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay.
Now it's going to be like $235, and you'll get it in 2020 instead of 2019.
That's the big thing that I think people really ticked off about. Is like, not only do I have to pay more, but I have to wait another couple of months.
Yeah,
just because I missed it by like a second. You know,
missing it by like a minute would be rough.
And they only ran this campaign for 15 days.
Yeah.
And when I checked it, after that first day, it was like 1.5 million on that.
It was fun to watch in like the first hour. Just watch the like ticker as people are backing. It was like an old Jerry Lewis telethon. You know what I mean?
And it's pretty significant difference between just getting the regular base game at 100, which seems super reasonable.
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
getting
that's
it
reasonable
at
for a Cool Mini or Not
220
game.
to 250ish.
Now
range.
it's 250.
Yeah,
Right, which because you're getting the
$150.
big bust.
Now, does that include shipping? I keep meaning to check.
I doubt it.
If it doesn't, I'm thinking, how much
That's
is it
a
going to
good
cost to
question.
ship that thing?
That's a good question because I didn't click on any of the 250 tiers or
You're
anything like that
shipping
to
a
find
baby-sized
out.
Cthulhu.
I don't know.
That's got to weigh
I
something.
don't know. So
As much as a Chipotle burrito, at least. That's what do I equate them to?
I like that. Like that's your unit of measurement.
Chipotle burrito.
That's not your unit of measurement?
That's at least 2.5 Chipotle burritos.
How big is that purse?
With extra rice.
It's about 4 burritos.
Do you do
extra
that for
rice.
cost as well? Like I could back this game, or I could buy 7,500 Chipotle burritos.
Well, here it is. We can either back that game, or we can go to Chipotle 5 times as a family.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, that's true. That's true
Kind of
story.
either or.
But
How
the
you wanna live
burritos
your
will
life.
come and go. Let's not get too much into that.
How-
But the Cthulhu statue will stay forever.
That's
How are you
true.
going to live your best life? Is it Chipotle life, or is it Cool Mini or Not
Can
life?
we pick another fast
Mini
food
or
chain? Because I know Chipotle's had like issues with like bad meat and stuff.
Oh,
Allegedly.
No. Oh no.
What if Chipotle execs like contact you like
They're like, "Man, we're gonna have you take
yeah,
this video
you're gonna
down,
have to
or else
stop
you're gonna
putting
get
out these
sued." And I'd be like,
podcasts.
"I don't
To
have
be
any
fair,
money,
though,
so."
Our memories are very short because Wendy's, Burger King,
Yeah.
every El Pollo Loco, like
El Pollo Loco.
that one too. All the restaurants,
Is it Scythe or Scythe?
all the restaurants, all the restaurants nearby have had issues at some point in time.
In-N-Out?
Because they're well, maybe not.
I don't
they
think
might have.
In-N-Out.
But you know, they were in California so long. Maybe something happened there. We just didn't hear about it
Maybe.
because
Well,
it wasn't relevant.
Are we on topic right now?
no, we're not
Oh,
on
we're
topic.
Not. Okay,
So
I'm just checking.
I love Cool
I'm
Mini.
hungry.
I love Cool Mini or Not games. I think that this is a very interesting game. I'm not going to back it at $200 and something.
No.
Like,
Right.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't either at
The-
that particular price because
It looks like an interesting game, but I almost feel like they released this way too early.
I was gonna say way too late. Like the Cthulhu theme
think so?
has been like done to
Well,
death.
that's true.
Like if this was 10 years ago, okay,
I'm just
exciting,
saying,
but
like, I don't want to wait for my game. I don't want to get my game now and then wait until a year and a half.
I have a question for you
from
though.
now.
How is that any different from like Arcadia Quest or
That's
Massive
true, but at
Darkness?
least like I felt like it was coming faster because I got bamboozled along the way.
It's not any different. The thing is, Cool Mini or Not has found the perfect way to market a game
To
for
print
around
money.
$100,
Yeah.
right? They're going to put awesome miniatures in there. They've got good gameplay. They've got Eric Lang helping them build it. Like they're always good.
the formula always works.
Like
Right.
the formula works. Every time I see it, the problem I have is at a certain point in time, you're like, which Cool Mini or Not games do I want to invest in?
Yeah.
So we went super hard into Arcadia Quest.
Yeah, 'cause
We
they
went
had,
into
like, the
Blood Rage. We got
others
into a
and,
bunch
like,
of
all
other
sorts
ones.
of different
Right.
ones, yeah.
But like we skipped the others because we had just got done dropping like 300 on Arcadia Quest.
For real.
So I'm not
Yeah.
going to drop 250 on this one. I don't like Cthulhu enough for that. I would do 100 though.
Yeah, I
do
think
100.
100 is a good price for like
Well,
the
you
base
could
game
still
and stuff
get
like
it
that.
for
Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say 100 is because there's like 9 extra figures, like playable characters. There's like another mini
Right.
campaign at that $100
Right.
pledge.
Well,
still.
and that's the good thing about doing Cool Mini or Not games is that
Right.
like you have like 15, 16
Well,
other
so
characters that
here's
you
the
can play
thing.
with in the
it's
game.
not necessarily a good thing. It makes a sense of urgency, so you have to buy it at Kickstarter.
Well, plus the
'Cause I want all the
15-day
I want the
campaign
15
makes
guys,
it feel
yeah.
rushed. I mean, they know
Because
how
if you
to
think about it, so like anytime, like
I want
normally
my
a game like
minis.
this, a game like this,
Yeah, you guys
normally-
don't have enough minis.
A game like this, normally I'd say, "Oh,
I don't
I'll
have
wait
enough things to
till it
paint.
comes out, and I'll buy it from the store." Right? I'll support the store, get it from the store. But since there's so much content that's only on Kickstarter, I feel like I have to do it now, even if I didn't want to spend the $100 this particular weekend. I got to
I'd
do
like
it.
to see someone take the Cool Mini or Not logo and write FOMO instead, right? Because that's what their marketing is like. You're going to miss out. You've got 15 days.
Yes.
Give us your money, or you will
Yeah.
not get this exclusive content.
Right, and that's
And
the
they
whole,
market on that FOMO of
They
like,
do.
oh, I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss this.
that
They do.
250 tier with the giant Cthulhu. Like that's a whole other expansion and everything with it too. So like it comes with more content.
It's not just the statue.
Right. It comes with more content, which kind of sucks because you feel like I've got to like double or more the price.
Yeah. Can I just get the content and not the $150 statue? Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's do a yay or nay on this. So
but first, are you guys getting it?
Well,
that's so
that's our question to you.
Learned since Rising Sun is that when you've got a game group that has 8 out of 9 people have it, we should have coordinated better on that.
We really should have coordinated better.
I did have some friends who didn't back it because they knew we were
Newbie was smart enough to go, no,
everybody else has that game.
I'm not doing it.
And I knew some other people who did as well, but most people are like, no, I want my copy as well.
Yeah.
Even though we're all going to play it together.
Right.
We should have a night where we just invite everyone we know
and just
gamers,
do like a massive
play
tournament.
Like 4 at the same time.
That would be awesome.
But if we're Andrew W.'s table, that's going to take twice as long as the other one. So we have to time that out
just
somehow.
Make sure he doesn't play the same one.
I'll be twice as entertained.
Make sure
because it's a blast playing with them, but it's just going to take twice as long.
Well, because besides all the entertainment factor he also brought lapping the board twice. So that was kind of like, it took him time to score all the points.
Bitter party of one.
It takes a while. It takes a while to move that. Just like,
and it's like 48, 46, 42, and then like 149.
Rising Sun is brutal. There's no like catch-up mechanic. If you're losing, you're losing.
Yeah.
No. Well, let's do yay or nay here on Cthulhu. Death May Die.
We were losing for hours. You're getting it right, so nay.
Nay.
I don't think so. I'll play Eldritch Horror. I'll play one of the millions of other Cthulhu games that
I will say that's one thing we do not have an overstock of Cthulhu games. We've got a few like Cthulhu Wars, right? Or the card game one, little card game one, but we don't actually have a lot of Cthulhu.
Specifically go after Cthulhu.
I want Pandemic, the Pandemic.
I want Don't Mess with Cthulhu though, so that's going to be one.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very different game than this, but yes.
But I would do this for 100, not the 250. I'm just cool mini or not, I can only invest into so many other games, and we're so deep in Arcade Quest, which we never get to play. I just can't do it again on another big game.
Okay, so I'm going to say yes for the $100 tier because you get so many other characters to play with in the game, and it's just silly not to do that if you're already interested in getting the game.
If you're on the edge of buying this game, you get it from Kickstarter. Don't wait.
Right. Just get it because you're going to get the extra stuff, and you're going to be satisfied with that. But it's one of those things where you get it and then you forget about it for like a year and a half because like this isn't coming out anytime soon, guys. Yeah, it's gonna show up on your doorstep and you'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe I got this game.
So
oh my god.
Arcade Quest Riders, where you actually get to put the mounts.
Yeah.
I didn't know that campaign launched. She told me about it. Like she showed me pictures of it before the campaign launched. So I didn't know she'd already backed it. So when that came yesterday or like this weekend, I was like, this is amazing. There's a cool mini or not box out of my front door. What is this?
My wife and I are both gamers too, so we get those like surprise packages.
And you're like,
oh, you bought this game? I didn't realize.
Yeah,
I totally wanted this game.
It's even better when you go out there and you're like, oh, what's this? And I'm like, is this Amazon? No, it says Simon on it.
FOMO box.
Like him opening the box, he was like.
Because I didn't know what was in there. It could have been anything.
So I just have to cross my fingers that we're still friends in 2020, and
that's
I get to play your
exactly.
copy.
There you go.
But
I have
the
to
$100
not piss
version,
you off for 2 years.
You have to be really nice to us for 2 years, okay?
The base version is going to be available first.
Yeah.
Faster.
You're going to get that.
Sooner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the second game on our list is Startropolois by Sandy Peterson. It's for 8+, 2 to 4 players, and it is 15 minutes per a person on that. So, I mean, if you're playing all players, 4 players, it's like an hour game that you're going to be doing. This game was really interesting because, you're building like a giant, not spaceship, but I guess it's like a
space station.
Yeah, a giant space station in space, and
like
you have
Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, you have all these little pieces that you fit together, and where you fit them together in that space station is what's going to thrive like your economy throughout the game.
Which is how you actually win.
Yeah.
Is with your economy.
And it's important to point out they're like 3D pieces. Like
it's like
Legos or
when you're building this space station, like at least now we have the camera so we can actually you're like together. It's a massive little ball of stuff that you end up putting together, and where it goes in that really matters.
It's like a 3-dimensional Among the Stars or Galaxy Trucker. Like it,
right?
It's that same sort of game, but like with bits that you can click together and make like this big structure in front of you.
Yeah, which is really interesting. And you're not making separate structures. You're all building off of the same structure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I misunderstood.
You're all building off of the one same structure.
So like you can block people by putting your piece.
Yeah.
there.
So like if I had all
watched the
purple
little
pieces,
gameplay video too, and I totally missed that.
yeah, if I have all the purple pieces and you're putting them together, like all the little purple pieces and their placement on that one single structure is what's going to give you your
That's cool.
stuff.
That adds a wrinkle to it that makes me more interested, actually.
Yeah.
Because prior to realizing that, I just thought
You're like, this is fun. You're going to be building
it's
little
like Among the
things for
Stars.
yourself.
Like it's
Yeah.
like all these sort of games. It
Right.
didn't feel original in the fact, except for that like toy factor.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like it would have the replayability that those would have, because you can do more with little tiles than like big pieces.
Right.
You can have more
Right.
variety.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting that you're all building on the same thing. I didn't realize.
It's all on the same structure. You have like a little ball of a space station in the middle,
Okay,
and then every
that's
piece
right.
goes off of that. Yeah.
So I would assume part of the strategy would be like, well, this is a good placement for me.
Yes.
But I'm also maybe setting her up because I can see what strategy she's doing.
Or you're trying to block somebody with that placement. You're like, you know what? Such and such is going to get a massive amount of points off this. I need to take this place right now.
I liked the Kickstarter, the way it was set up too, with the videos. They had a Rado video. They had a gameplay video. I mean, it seemed like it was well run, well put together.
And the big thing on this is the price. So the price is $49 for the main tier. What?
I absolutely hated the price thing
Oh, you did?
because it's $49 for the base game or $79 if you want access to the Kickstarter box.
Yeah.
So if you're unlocking it by buying the base game, you're
Yeah.
not getting any of the Kickstarter exclusives. It's only if you back it at
Yeah.
But
$79.
I
Right.
think $49 though for all these little plastic pieces that you're putting
pretty
together
good
and stuff.
price.
I feel like that with the plastic pieces that you're getting, that's a decent price for
Yeah.
that.
Right, but I would be really upset if I thought I was getting the Kickstarter exclusives by backing it. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the whole point of going to Kickstarter, right?
But the
and then you don't get it, but you have to pay more for that. That's
The Kickstarter
you don't go to Kickstarter to
exclusive.
pay more to get extras. Like you pay the price and you get.
Yeah,
extras.
usually there's a tier that says, like, even though this is like a base cheaper price, you'll get all the stuff that's unlocked.
or at least one or two things.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Kickstarter exclusive for this though, isn't it just like the glow in the dark
It's
little
just, right. It's the
ball
home.
in the middle?
Right, it's the home piece, right? Your centerpiece. It's
There
gonna
aren't
glow in the
extra
dark.
pieces as well. It's just the
No,
glow.
it's just the glow in the dark.
$30
ball
so
instead
that it
of-
glows in the dark. Is that really
yeah,
the only
like
difference?
I don't know. I
No,
thought
so the Kickstarter exclusive is everybody will get that glow in the dark ball, even the base set.
Okay.
But then if you want any of the extra things they've unlocked, which is like extra races,
Right,
extra
extra
Oh, okay,
pieces.
and then that's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
in
yeah.
there.
That's the
Then
$79
that's all
$79.
in there.
Right,
Okay.
right, right.
Okay, well, that part kind of sucks.
Yeah, 100%
That
sucks.
part kind of.
But the
'cause then you're
49
doing
isn't
like
bad, like you said. It's
Yeah.
still a decent price. Just for the toy factor, you could buy like Erector sets or
But see,
something
this
for your
is-
kids that would cost
That's
similar
true.
amount.
This is where I would. This is where I disagree. I don't like it enough. I'd rather just spend $50 on Legos.
Yeah.
You can get a nice set for $50.
Yeah, I think this is. I mean, you
As
haven't.
someone who's spent a lot of money on Legos,
You're like,
tell you.
trust me, you can
can
spend
get-
$50.
you haven't been to the house
very
yet, but if you
easy.
came by, you would
Very
see that
easy.
$50.
It's built out of Lego,
Ooh,
right?
very
well,
nice.
yeah, that's right in the walls.
We've actually talked about that.
That's awesome.
Gosh, I mean that does change up the Kickstarter portion of it a lot with that going to that $80 mark.
Right,
I
because
thought
if
it
you
was
want,
really interesting,
but
though.
a lot of people have backed it at the $80, so like a lot of people are totally okay with that. But I'm not. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's
I don't like
that's
it
a little
enough to
much.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since it does feel derivative of like Among the Stars or Galaxy Trucker. Like,
I thought it was such a unique idea, though, having everybody build off of that and
Yeah.
having the uniqueness
And the
of the
3D
space station
pieces.
every time. Yeah.
And see, like that's actually almost more of a turnoff for me personally. Like,
Why
I
is
don't,
that?
I don't feel the need to build that.
He
I
doesn't
have
like
other
space
stuff.
games anyway.
I do.
let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Hold
I'm
on.
your therapist.
Hold on.
Get
She
on the
loves
couch.
Hold
putting
on.
words into my mouth. It's not that I don't like
Well,
space.
fairness.
So there is a lot of space games I do like. But space isn't an automatic sell for me. A lot of people are like, oh,
Yeah.
space is good. Now, automatic sells for me are going to be like elves, dwarves, Wild West stuff. I will back a game that's a Wild West game, even if I'm like,
You're
I
more
don't
likely
know.
to do generic
Except for
fantasy
Galactic
or-
Scoundrels.
But that's space.
Because Space Cowboys.
You're
Totally
like,
different.
Galactic.
God.
Come on, it's right
God.
there in the name. Galactic.
It was like the melding of
So
two
it has
things.
to be like.
So you dislike space so much that even if they merge it with
With
Western, you're like,
cowboys,
no.
you're like, hell no.
I want pure Western
no space
theme.
cowboys.
You didn't like the Harrison Ford movie from like 10 years ago?
good.
All right.
So yeah, so for me, I would pass on this game.
I don't think there's
it's
any
enough.
theme for me that's like, I will absolutely buy this just because of the theme.
Yeah.
There's
It
no
has
theme
to
for me
have
like
good
that
mechanics.
either, but I have to like it helps the theme's good. So, like, for
Yeah, of
example,
course.
she doesn't like King of Tokyo, but I like the theme enough that I give it, like, some extra leeway.
So wait, you like King of Tokyo and you don't?
This is
hate
neat,
Has this
right?
come
King of
up
Tokyo.
before?
Oh my god, it's come up so much. Yeah.
Has it?
King of Tokyo is the worst.
But the idea of being a giant monster in a city is just amazing to me. I love it.
Yeah, every kid thinks that's
like, look,
fun,
look at
right?
your smile.
I love it.
Rampage
So
is better than that, and that's a dexterity
so
game.
much setup and stuff.
Or I guess
Yeah, and
Terror
then
in
it gets-
Meeple City.
Right, and then Terror Meeple City / Rampage is also, like, very subjective too. Like, if you're playing it with certain people, like small people, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm eating this guy," and you're like, "He was on the line." That's not. You get into
A
conflict.
little awkward.
Yeah.
Well, all right. It
already
is
answered.
funded.
Nay.
It is funded. There's 4 days left on it, and you say nay.
Yeah,
Greg,
no,
what do you
I'm
think?
pass.
Nay.
Really?
Yeah. It's too similar to other things. I don't think it's enough of a toy. Like,
Yeah.
there's a handful of bits, but I don't know. I feel like it'll...
It's a cool idea. I'm just not sold.
I already have Among the Stars with expansions and things.
What do you think? So this is for 8+. What do you think about playing this, though, with kids?
Yeah, they might like
Because
it.
that adds
but
a whole thing to it. Like, if I'm going to play
Yeah.
the different games like that, I might do this more if I'm trying to get kids to play.
But I'm going to play Rhino Hero.
You know,
No.
Galaxy Trucker is pretty light. You could play that with kids.
Yeah.
If you want
It's the same
a
idea.
building type game, Rhino Hero is great because you're, like, building the little
And I like the
cars
real
and then-
time in Galaxy Trucker,
Yeah.
too.
All right, well, I'm going to have to say nay as well because I'm upset that I don't get all the Kickstarter exclusives.
Right.
So, yeah, that would
You
make
can
me
for
sad.
$30 more.
That would make me sad. But I think this is a
79
really
is too expensive.
cool concept for a game. And if you're interested in something like that, like, definitely check it out.
I don't think it's going to be a bad game, but it's just not. It's not a yes for me.
Yeah,
I'd
not
love
for
to
you.
play it at a con or something.
I
but-
could
We're
see
willing
how
to
it'd be a
play
big.
your copies.
I see how it would be a big con draw. Our next game is Island of El Dorado
Bum, bum, bum,
by
bum, bum, bum,
Daniel
bum, bum.
Aronson. It's for 14+, 2 to 4 players, and 20 minutes per player. So that's going to be a pretty long game. 2, 4, 6,
Yeah, an hour 20.
8. Yeah. Yeah.
That's about my limit where, you start hitting about 2 hours. I'm like,
This game was cool, though,
You
because
must have been really squirmy at Rising Sun a few weeks back. If an hour 20 is your cutoff.
he's done.
So
He's done.
we were discussing, like she said that Game Boy Geek likes games that are usually, like, shorter, right? So for me, if it's an hour under, I like it more. Like, that it starts making me like it more because I like to play more games.
I think that's Dan's thing too. Like, if it's longer,
Yeah.
it needs to be exponentially better
It
for
really
how much
does.
longer
Yes.
it is.
Because he's
And also-
he's wasting his time playing
Right.
those
Without
games.
with
Like
catch-up games, like with games that don't
He
have a
wants
really
so many
good
in.
catch-up like mechanic. If somebody's at like 100 points and you're at 50 and you're like an hour into it and there's no
Yeah.
way,
you're like,
all right.
I'm done playing this game.
Yeah, not everything can be like Lords of Waterdeep where you play it and you're like, okay, I can still catch
Well-
the
Still a
end.
shot here.
Yeah.
Island of El Dorado is a reprint of the game. So this is a small game that has been done before with a reprint with an expansion. So you can
Yeah.
either get just the base game from the reprint, or you can get the expansion and the base game, or I think you can just get the expansion with it. It is for $59 for the base game, and then if you want the base and the expansion, it's $85. And this is a tile placing game where you're like revealing tiles and you're kind of building your map as you go. And you're putting down like little what is it?
meeples, essentially.
Right, but
Like little
like
temples.
ruins, temple. There we go,
Yeah.
temples. Yeah, you're putting
looking
down
for those.
temples,
Yeah.
and you're putting down villages, and you're making villagers, and you're creating what is it, like heroes to go across and like
Yeah.
battle other people's villages and stuff. This was a really interesting game because I feel like creating the map, you're creating like that fog of war, as you're going out,
Which is always good.
and discovering really cool things, as well as having like a small economy with things, and then also having like area control.
And it looks amazing.
Yeah.
The hexes are beautiful. The little temple statue
They're
things
very
are
cool
cute. I
looking.
mean,
Well-
the meeples are in original shapes. Like,
Yeah.
it looks gorgeous on the table.
Yeah.
The strength of this game is that there's multiple ways to win it. Because so if you're watching the video and if you've played this game, what you're doing is you can either explore. So if someone starts building up economy to build up like a big army, you can go around them and explore, but then you might get into
Conflicts.
dangerous areas, right? Or you can like just kind of rush for the temple and try to explore it that way while you're weak, or you can build up your economy, or you can build up your army and start taking out other players that have been attacking these
and then they had like the dangerous temple cave and stuff like that. You could go in.
Like an
that's right, underground and stuff, which was more dangerous, but like a better one to go to. Yeah.
But I like a game where you can win. You can attack it from different ways, right? So you can do economy. You can do
ultimately,
warfare.
the win condition is getting to all 4 temples, right?
Yes, but how you get there is completely up to you. And the fact that you're flipping out tiles every single time, you can really change it.
I have not played it. Like whenever I saw the Kickstarter go up, I was like, I have not even heard of this game before.
Well,
like, why haven't I played this? This is.
You got mad?
So I got mad when I was first watching it because of the expansion thing. Because I'm done.
Oh, you're like, why are they releasing an expansion right away?
Like,
and then you're like, oh wait, this is second printing.
Well, right.
They did put like reprint really big in the title.
So at first, I was getting upset because I'm like, don't give me an expansion for a game I haven't played yet. Because like I'm not going to want to pay extra for an expansion if I've never played the game.
Right.
But yeah, when she pointed out that it is a reprint, I was like,
it's a reprint.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, then that makes more
sense. And
sense.
I think they know that backers do get mad for that reason, so they tried to make it obvious.
AKA, by the way, just kidding, guys, reprint.
Well, reading is hard.
Sometimes I take off my glasses.
That's right. Now, this game is already funded. And it's
I before E, except after C.
It's got 16 days left
that
for you guys.
Never works.
What do you guys think?
16 days?
Yeah.
16
I think it looked like a mix of Settlers and Settlers of Catan and Scythe. And it's sort of like a been there, done that kind of way. I mean, there is the fog of war element. That's the only difference. Otherwise,
where you're making different maps.
You roll dice, you get resources for those, and then you can trade with each other. Oh, but it's got combat. Yeah, like the Hex game side. I mean, like it just seemed too similar to those two games.
Lots of stuff happening that's the same with it.
It didn't appeal to me at all.
Yeah.
Of the 3, this is the one I'm least likely to back.
Oh, really? Okay.
Even though it was very good. It looks great on the table.
It looks fantastic, yeah.
It just felt like someone went, oh, what if Settlers had fighting? And I'm like, well, okay, but I don't know.
So I don't necessarily feel the same way about that. I don't feel like it's like Settlers necessarily.
Well, you're rolling dice.
Yeah.
And
then if your little
are rolled, you get those resources.
Meeples are on those, then
and then you can trade with each other.
The dice rolling determines where you go, like how many.
Oh, that's the other thing I didn't like. It's a roll and move game.
But hold on,
you're like,
what?
Let me tell you how much I did not like this game.
Is this a reprint of a game from '99? Like it just feels like really old.
Did you not read well?
Reading is hard. We've already established.
There's a part
reading is hard.
There's actually a little cutout in the campaign that says if you don't like randomness in your game,
oh,
go
that's
to page
right.
13.
That's right. And that I forgot about that.
Rules.
I didn't get to page 13.
They do have alternate rules if you don't like dice rolling.
Okay.
I remember reading that and I went, oh, finally.
Finally
somebody understands.
What I thought was interesting about the dice rolling that isn't bad is you roll 2 dice. One of them determines how far you move.
Yeah.
And the other one is how many resources you collect. So you get to decide that. You can say.
So there's some choice.
Okay, so one or the other.
But in the combat, there's also dice rolling. So you count up.
That's going to be like Risk.
Risk. Once again, what year is this?
Right.
Like this is an old. These are old. I don't know.
See.
Whenever you have combat, though, like what options do
once
you
again,
have?
it's so similar to Scythe. Why don't they do card play?
Rock, paper, scissors.
The card play in Scythe, because it's the same thing. You add up all the totals, and then you roll a die and add that to your total. Well, in the example they give, it was like 7 to 8. Well, who cares if you're at 8 or 7 if the die roll could easily swing it? You'd have to come in with so much more force. That almost
like Risk.
Yeah, I almost feel like like they're de-incentivizing you to do combat because there's so much. I mean, you're rolling a 6-sided die. That's going to really swing the battles. Even if
it's a game with a lot going on in it.
I think you're right. Maybe if it was the dice for 1, 2, 3 would be a little bit better. Because then you're like max.
I think it's a normal 6-sided.
Right. Well, I'm saying, like, if it's 1 to 3, it's like having more forces, you're just statistically more likely to win. Where if it's 1 to 6, you could have like 4 versus 8, and you could just totally blow out the 8.
I think most modern games are using cards now. If you think of like Blood Rage and Scythe.
Well, because you can use
add
cards
up your totals,
a lot differently with cards.
Do you think that maybe they're trying to save paper? They're trying to save the rainforest.
No, because if you have cards, you're not
Kickstarter
saving
where they
paper.
Plant a tree?
What?
No, he's saying more dice and less cards. I don't know. It just felt like really out of date.
Why not
and
both?
Old to me. I love the look of it, but
I liked the look of it. I liked the map building portion of it.
And the testimonials are all from BGG users and prior backers.
Yeah.
There was no
new stuff.
Did they send these out to people like
well,
Dan
they're doing like a reprint on it. Like,
but
I mean, maybe they assume like they already have a following, so like
maybe.
then that's going to carry them on that.
Reasonable.
And
you think so?
They are funded already. They're already funded. Yeah, so I mean,
I'm like less skeptical on this one. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought at first I was like, I'm not so sure. But then when I saw some of the different ways to get to the temples, and then you have to fight your way through like the cave to get to the last
I want to be wrong. I hope I play it.
Is it like
$60
though? Like, well, let's do yays or nays. So, Greg.
Let me think. Nay.
See, this one's tough. I'm like super on the fence for it. Like,
okay.
You know, if I had to pick,
yes,
you know, between like Cthulhu, like between these three, I would do Cthulhu.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
But if Cthulhu wasn't in there, then this would probably be my second pick out of the three we talked about today.
Okay.
So I'm really on the fence. I'm like 50-50. Like, if I had a sudden windfall of $60, like I got some birthday money.
When is your birthday?
It was like last week.
Sorry.
Remember when
you were there?
Remember when he turned 40?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why
I was there.
Oh my gosh.
Is this what Alzheimer's feels like?
You wouldn't know.
Wait,
you wouldn't
who are you?
Hold on.
Where am I?
What?
This is the 5th time we've had to record.
Is this a podcast?
Yeah, that's not my fault.
Is this a podcast? Hold on.
Because you keep forgetting you've done this one before. Which you don't realize, Greg. This is like Groundhog's Day. We've done this podcast 7 times.
That's how this podcast started.
I'm going to start
actually.
writing things on my arms just so I can remember who you are, where I am, what I'm doing.
Your wife is paying us to do this fake podcast. This doesn't go online.
So sad. She's like, we need Greg out of the house for a while.
It's like the Truman Show.
He's so excited
This
about
whole
doing
reality's been
podcasts.
constructed for me.
He's so excited about doing podcasts. He doesn't realize that it's 2020 and nobody does those anymore.
All right. Well, out of the 3 games, I would probably back this one.
Really? This is your first choice?
Because there's enough going on with it, and plus you can mitigate those dice rolls by having different rules for it, okay? And I like the map building. I feel like this is a longer play game. Like, this takes a while to unfold and unravel. Like, it takes a while to build up your village. And I personally like games like that, you
I like
know?
a little bit more of, like, the randomized board and everything is kind of nice. Because what I don't like about some games is you can, like, figure them out. And then once you figure them out, you're like, this is the ultimate play. If I go here, or if I start in this spot, if I start in Australia strong, I'm going to win.
I feel like $60 is a little high.
Yeah, I think so. But it is beautiful. And the statues, the little temples and things
If they
look
want to
amazing.
send it to us for free, I'd be willing to play it.
Well, there
I
you go.
don't think they're going to after this video. I'm sorry, guys.
Thanks for ruining it. That's the only reason why we do this podcast.
I liked it. I'm going to say yay on that one. And I probably would not back the Cthulhu one. So
well, when you guys get this one, I want to play it and I want to be
I would
wrong.
back it for like the Kickstarter things, but like overall, I'm not a huge fan of Cthulhu. Like, if I had to pick out of these 3 games right now, I would pick the El Dorado one because I'm not a fan of Cthulhu. The space one didn't pan out, but this one seems like it has potential to me.
It seems like we have a conflict. Get out your dice. Let's decide this.
We're not doing that. Hold on, let me get my cards. So, honorable mentions for tonight, Greg. Do you want to talk to...
do you do anything that's reasonable?
What do you do? I mean...
I do, like, the best gaming podcast.
Well, the best gaming podcast.
I don't know if it really is being released or if it's just part of the illusion that you guys have created for me. But I assume I put out a podcast every Monday with my wife and that people actually are listening to it.
I wouldn't go that far.
I think
well,
if it's fake, she's mocked up like fake
she's
websites
done a really good,
and stuff.
She's done
like,
a really good
very
job.
Convincing.
Yeah, well.
But with my Alzheimer's,
really
it's probably easy to trick
house.
me.
The length she will go to.
Yeah, she's like, I'm editing the podcast. Go away, and it's like hours and hours.
Oh,
she
so weird.
Kids
so
just
weird.
To trick you. Oh, you gotta take the kids to the dentist. They're not your kids.
The podcast.
She rented them.
Hooked on Geek.
Yes,
Every Monday.
Hooked on Geek.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Follow us. Respond.
That's right. And you guys talk about, what do you guys talk about?
We talk about
games,
topics like this. We talk about, we do top 5s. We do have guests. We kind of do a little bit of everything. Lately, we've been doing book recommendations. Just really anything we're geeking out about, but with a focus on tabletop gaming.
Because it's Hooked on Geek, and then with a focus on your guys' combined favorite hobby.
Yeah, books, movies.
That's right. But you guys talk about other stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah,
gaming mostly.
Yeah. All right, and, we're on... iTunes and Stitcher. Make sure to like us, and now we're on YouTube, obviously, since some of you are watching us on YouTube.
Yes. And you get to see this
That's
specimen
right,
of manhood.
That's right. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the little bell so you can get notices whenever we do post things. And we like comments that are awesome. And
don't like comments that aren't so awesome. No. If you think the Island of El Dorado looks amazing,
tell us why.
Yeah,
tell us
them
why.
Tell
us why, and then If you want us to replace Greg,
like
start.
Oh no!
Start a conversation.
Star,
you know,
6.
we're here to talk about board games with you guys. So, all right. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Have a good night, guys.